I can't remember the exact week that it happened. We had a bit of an inkling that it was going to sort of change the way that we did church.
Yeah.
And then literally within a matter of days, we heard announcements from the government saying that we were going to have to, basically not hold our meetings.
We were praying about it and we felt like it's going to be this weekend. So we actually got ready for it on the Wednesday, I think, that we were probably going to need to be online on the Sunday. We made the call and we were like, have we gone too early? And then actually it was perfect because they said on the Friday that it was, that we couldn't meet.
A panel on kingdom business, kingdom culture.
We'd streamed some of our services in the past, but we tried to do things quite differently, and we had a lot of fun with it, to be honest.
Yeah, the first Sunday was really fun. We literally had this tiny little microphone plugged into our phones and we were just doing the best we could.
Welcome everyone to Catch the Fire Sydney. This is our first online church service and we're really excited about what God wants to do in this season. We're really excited.
We had one particular Sunday that just had the most funny hiccups. So Dave was videoing at Dan and Robin's house and unfortunately Dan and Robin have a really bad internet connection and we were halfway or 10 minutes in and the streaming wasn't working properly and they had to pack all the gear up in the middle of the service, run it to our house, and then we had a whole bunch of other hiccups that day, and I think that was kind of like the turning point after that week where we kind of went, it can't get any worse than that, really.
Yeah. Resourcefulness comes out sometimes when you least have control over what is happening circumstantially. And so I think after that particular week, it felt like we started to hit our groove. We'd hit the worst. We knew that we could actually continue to do this. It wasn't just about putting on a live stream, but it was actually about that connection in the virtual environment that we were in at the time.
With church, we've gone through a few moves. When we first originally moved to Sydney, we were in the North Sydney Demonstration School, and then we found meeting in Chatswood. We've been meeting in Blacktown. We've got campuses in Pakistan. So I guess we've never really felt that tied to the building is not the church. The people really are the church. Being told we can't meet up in person it meant churches didn't stop existing just because we couldn't meet up in person. The church, all the relationships are still really solid. Our vision together is really solid. We're still the church.
COVID's really enabled us to think differently about what does church look like, where do we meet, where are we going, who are we as a family.
What is most meaningful for our church community? What are the things that we absolutely need in church? And so I feel like this has been a really great opportunity to maybe deconstruct church a little bit and kind of go, if we get to reframe church, if we get to recreate church, if we get a fresh opportunity, what would we do different? How would we shape church differently?
All of that kind of getting erased in a moment really opened up a opportunity for us to ask God, what do you want us to do afresh?
We'd been praying for some time about when this new season would be coming for church, when there'd be an opportunity for us to potentially have a bit more of ownership over a space. And it felt like as we were doing this, that we were in such a massive change season that it would feel like a potential natural flow to go on to something a bit different.
Yeah, I feel like there's also just an increase in where God has you. I don't know if are you guys in a building that you own or you lease right now?
Lease.
Is it lease? Yeah, I just feel like the Lord's like, there's something that God is moving you from just being a leaser to an owner. And I feel like there's even a place that God has already reserved. And it's like you could almost step into another long-term lease, but you'll lock yourself in to a level of blessing that God doesn't want to limit you to. So Lord, I just thank you that you want to bless them even with long-term blessings. And so I feel like the Lord's giving you a couple years to kind of figure this out, but there's a 2-year grace that's coming on you to begin to step into a place of ownership. And I feel like it has to do with even something that was used but it's empty right now. And I feel like the Lord's going to open up it's kind of looks like a corporate center, not just a traditional church.
Most of the church would know that over the last number of years, we've always had on our radar the idea of looking for a venue that we could rent as our own venue. And so we've been on a journey for probably 4 years maybe. At the beginning of this year, it became a thing where it just felt like too hard, too big. God, it's in God's hands. And I think no one could have foreseen COVID.
We've actually spent a lot of time reflecting on prophetic words. There's been a lot of words about new buildings and a lot of words about new places and a lot of words about new seasons.
We kind of went, oh, maybe this is the timing, like maybe this is the season for it. And so I think we've just started to really pray and process, could this be like a launching time for us to step into this new season?
It is. It's an interesting journey when we've had, how many years now? 4 or 5 years with the Salvation Army in Chatswood. And they have been an incredible blessing to our church. Like we really are genuinely grateful to them. You were aware that you were always in somebody else's house.
You know, our church has big dreams, and you know, we have the journey of our relationship with God, the journey of our relationship with others, and then we've got this outward journey, and it has felt frustrating as a church to feel like we haven't had space to be able to host things during the week, to be able to have ministries running from our church location.
I guess we had this wrestle of, you know, is it wise and safe to give up our lease when we don't actually have another one yet? Or is that part of the faith journey that God's got us on? And
Your aunt, I think, gave us this really great quote once, which is that the opposite of faith isn't fear, it's certainty.
We wanted to let you know that we're not going back to 23 Archer Street. It's very exciting. We've spoken with them, we've ended the lease, and we've discussed it as a board, we've discussed it as pastors and leaders, and this is a time where we can start to believe what's possible and what is new and what is now and what is next. And we encourage you to pray with us as we embark on this journey together.
And we're still unpacking what that looks like and where exactly that's going to lead us, but we feel really confident that God actually has a new space for us on the other side of this COVID journey.
There are possible building opportunities down the line, ones that we're investigating right now.
We want everyone to come on this journey with us because the church is us, you know, we are the church. And so we really want prayer, support, and for people to know that we're doing it together.
so that's our big news, is that when we start meeting again after this season of being online, we're not going to be going back to the same building. Now, I know that has made me think, oh, what's it going to look like? How am I? And I've felt a lot of emotions around it. We will probably all process this differently. Some people are going to be like, yay, that sounds fine. I don't mind where we meet, not a problem. And for you guys, you're phenomenal. Just keep enjoying that space. For other people, you might feel a little bit like, what's it going to look like? I don't like things being uncertain. It might feel like, you're going to have to think about, well, where am I going to be parking now? What's the new building going to look like? You have some questions, some queries. We just wanted to say, the reason we're making this video is because we want that dialogue to be totally on the table and open. There is no question that cannot be asked. We would love to hear any and every question. We don't know all the answers, and yet we're part of this together. It's really our church journey. And so we just want to open up the floor of saying, ask away any questions you've got. We would love anybody who wants to be involved, even in shaping out this vision. If you've got ideas, if you're thinking, hey, I've got great ideas of how this could work really well, we would love you to be bringing those ideas. So we've actually put a share your ideas spot on the website to help with that. So if you go on the website, it says your journey, and the bottom one is share your ideas. We really want you to share your ideas, but you don't have to. If you're like, hey, I don't mind when we meet, just tell me and I'll rock up. Awesome, you can do that. If you're like, hey, I would like to be super involved, we would love that. For everybody, this is our journey, and we have a call to prayer on this, so we need to be praying. And so if I can just encourage you just to say, God, would you help church find it's the great landing place for the next season, and just also celebrating the last season. And we're just also really wanting to pray for the Chatswood Salvos, because we love them to bits.